only that, the Kentucky Derby was this past weekend, and for most of you all know I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so I haven't been to the Kentucky Derby in years. Together as family and coming together as a community. I saw a lot of love to the mothers.
All right, y'all. I'm live on Facebook Live. That's Mariko Turner. We're live. We're live. So Mariko Turner's talking. When he's done, Ray Hendrickson, and then yours truly.
He sent out pictures last week of he and his sister Mary J. Blige and Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. They were at an event called Dear Mama, and they aired that last night. I don't know about you all, but there was a certain synergy in the air this past weekend, and I sat back and I admired it. And the reason I admired it because I started to look at how many people actually get on this call and get on our Facebook Live link Monday through Friday at 12 noon, and I just started to think to myself, people are starting to come together more and more and more and more as a community, as a family, as a team. And the one thing we like to express on this call Monday through Friday is that you do someone else a favor. I would pay it forward. Anything that you do, make sure you pay it forward so that it moves to the next generation, that it moves to the next bounty of people so that they can benefit from it as well. So what we like to ask you to do is every single day when you get on this call, every single day when you join us on the Facebook Live stream, that you send the link out to someone. Send the phone number to someone. Send it to a friend. Send it to a business partner. Send it to someone you just see walking down the street who looks like they could, look like they're having a hard time and just looking for a way where they feel like there's no way. Go to your neighbors. Send a text message out. Send an email out. Someone is looking for a way to induce their family lineage, to induce their legacy, to elevate their financial well-being. That's why we get on this call every single day. So I just want to encourage you all just to send a message out. And just thank you for sending the message and thank you for getting on this call because, see, a year and 6 months ago, I was introduced to this call. I was introduced to this business opportunity. I was introduced to a better way of life. I was introduced to a way to live a better life. And I was looking for a better way of life. And truth be told, I really feel like I was looking for a better way of life pretty much my entire life. I'm 41 years young, and I like saying that as Platinum Senior Vice President Thomas Felder puts it. He said he feels like the best days of his life are now in front of him. Until I got into this business, I really didn't feel that way. I always felt like I was searching for a better way of life. I always felt like I was searching for a group of people. I was searching for someone who would just reach out and touch someone. Reach out and pull me forward. Show me what they know, how they do it, what they have, and then show me a way that I could do the same things and know what they know and learn what they know and eventually have what they have. And it took me a long time. It took me 41 years, well, I'll say 40 years of my life to find it. And I had to, and when I found it, I sat back and I pondered on my thoughts and I asked myself, why did it take me so long to find these group of people? Think about it. Are you searching for a group of people? Are you searching for a fellowship or a friendship or a team or a business constituents who are on the same mission as you are? Who's around you? This morning, National Director, soon-to-be Senior Vice President Ray the Sensei Hendrickson did a training on what one of our calls we call the morning vitamin call. And he talked about the people that are around you. And when I look at it, when I looked at it and I thought back on what he was saying, I started doing some reevaluating of my life. I started looking back in my past on who I was spending the most time with as I was growing up. And the person that I spent the most time with was my mother. And I spent a lot of time with her because, there were times I was spending time with her, she didn't even realize it. Because my mother worked so much and she went to school because she was trying to educate herself. She was trying to get some more tutelage, get some more knowledge, get around a group of people that would help her progress our life together because she was looking for a way to a better way of life for us. And she was working in a doctor's office and then going to school to become a nurse. And she was doing this simultaneously, Monday through Friday, sometimes on Saturdays. And I remember just waking up, watching her zip back and forth in the house, making breakfast for me and making lunch for the both of us, and in the bathroom, putting on her nurse's uniform and making her face up, and she would dart out the door in the wee hours of the morning, and it was pitch black outside. A young, beautiful African-American young lady walking 2.5, 3 blocks to a bus stop just so she could get to work, and then go to school later on another bus, and then come back to school on another bus, and then come home at night. And I watched my mother do this year after year after year after year, and sometimes she would sit and talk to me about the conversation she would have with the doctor, Dr. Amin, and Dr. Giles, and J. Shari Amin, and all these other doctors who came from other countries like India and Pakistan, and she would be in their office just on her lunch break, picking their brains, asking them questions about why they came to America and what they were looking for. And she said, come to find out, they were searching for the same thing that we that are born here in America are searching for, the American dream. They were told that if they come here, if they go to school, if they got a good education, they would get a good job and they would make a lot of money and be successful. So when they came here, they started surrounding themselves around groups of people who were doing the same exact thing they were doing, going to school to get a good education, hoping to get a good job, and hoping and praying to make a lot of money. And my mother said, I just think if I just spend a lot of time around these people, just maybe something will rub off. Just maybe someone will see that I'm a hard worker, and I'm faithful, and I'm loyal, and I'm diligent, and I'm tenacious, and I'm hungry, and I have a son, and I just want him to live a better life, that they will open up a door for me. I remember her saying that. I can almost hear her now saying it to me. I spent a lot of time around these doctors with my mother. Sometimes when I would get out of school, because her doctor's office was not, the doctor's office she worked in was not that far from my school, I could get on one bus and it would take me right to her job. And I would sit there sometimes in one of the doctor's offices and do my homework. And I would have the door cracked just listening to the things they would talk about. One would think that I would become a doctor. But I saw that these doctors were walking in one room to the next, one room to the next, one room to the next. And I would see my mother zipping back and forth down the hallway. It's no wonder she was exhausted. It's no wonder that when she came home at night, that she would pass out on the couch, sometimes in her nurse's uniform, makeup still on her face. Sometimes she would fall asleep doing her homework at the dining room table. She was working herself into exhaustion. And I watched her do this for many years. I watched her do it so much that even on a Saturday, she would wake up in panic because she thought she was 45 minutes late for work. And she would be zipping up and down the hallway in our apartment in a frantic frenzy. I would have to stop her and remind her, Mom, it's Saturday, baby. You don't have to work today. She was so accustomed to working that her reticular activating system would alert her even on her day off that she had to go to work. Because she was taught, just like many of us, that we have to go to school, get a good education, we'll get a good job, and we'll make a lot of money and be successful. I remember my mother saying to me one day, whatever you do, son, make sure you do something that makes you happy. Make sure you do something that doesn't require you to kill yourself while you're working. Make sure you do something that is a philanthropy. Make sure you do something that can help others. Make sure whatever it is you do, that you wear your feelings on your sleeves. You never know when someone may need to take a tug at the right and left wrist. And that stayed in my mind. What that told me was that charity, starts at home, because I saw my mother working so hard that I wanted to do something about it. I realized I had talents that most kids my age in my neighborhood I grew up in didn't have. And I could sing, I could write songs, and I could dance. And I just wanted to do something for my mother to give her some rest, to help her, because, she was a single mom, raising me on her own. It's heartbreaking when you see your mother wake up on a Saturday and she's in a panic, crying because she thinks she's late for work, and when you announce to her that she's off, that she's so exhausted she falls to her knees with tears, almost a puddle under her. So I decided to do something. I got into the music business at an early age. I was in an R&B group. I ended up traveling with the likes of Joe Levert and Brandy and Jamie Foxx and Tony Braxton and Babyface, opening up shows for these people. And then I went out to sign my first record deal, moved to New York with the late, great rapper Heavy D. That led me into becoming a music producer and scoring some movies and being around some influential people who I just knew would help me further my life. See, I had a dream, and most people would think that my dream was always to be this big songwriter and producer and singer on stage, but my overall dream was just to be financially free. See, I wanted to give my mother some rest, something that she really didn't have. She didn't have rest. She was tired. That's why I got into the music business, truth be told. It wasn't because it was always my dream to sing and songwrite. It was my dream to become financially free. And when I got to the music business, I even got to work with the #1 production camp in the world as a songwriter-producer, Mr. Timberland's camp himself. I had a great time working with him. I wasn't moving up that corporate ladder we all are looking to move up. Is there really a ladder there? What is it? Is it a ladder, or is it what some of you all like to call our business, a pyramid? Last time I checked, the pyramids were over in Egypt. I know what you all are talking about. I know what you mean. But most of us are trying to move up a non-existing format that won't allow us to move up. As National Director Ray Henderson likes to put it, he says, it's an invisible glass ceiling that we just keep bumping our heads on every time we move. I bumped my head so many times, I think that's why my hair is gone. See, family, we get on this call every day because we want to help free someone. We want to help educate someone. We want to help motivate, inspire, in hopes that you can help transition your life to a better way of living for you. A year and a half ago, my good friend Ray Hendrickson, now, as of last month, a decade that I've known this young man, he introduced me to a business opportunity that changed my life. It helped me to put more food on the table for my family. It's put me around a group of men and women who are working towards the same goal. I read in the book by T. Harv Eker, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. He said, show me your closest friends, your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you not only where your life is going, but I can pinpoint just how much money you make. You're only a certain degree of success between the 4 to 5 closest people you spend the most time with. These 2 gentlemen put me around a group of men and women who are fighting for financial freedom. I watch these two gentlemen every single day push and push and push. They've nurtured me. They've tutored me. They've mentored me. They've inspired me. And they've helped me to transition my life. Who's helping you? Who's your mentor? Who's your best friend? Who are the people that you spend the most time with? Are they inducing your life and elevating you to new levels that you are far beyond your thought capacity? Or are they pulling you down in a boiling barrel of hot water with the other crabs? Think about it. Where do you see your life? Where do you want to go? How do you want to live? The Bible says, without vision, the people will perish. You got to get a vision for yourself. A year and a half ago, my friend Ray Hendrickson threw me a lifeline that helped to accelerate my vision. And my vision has become larger because of these gentlemen. And I'm elated to be on this call with you all today. So I'm going to ask that you get a pen and piece of paper, take some serious, copious notes. I was always told when someone who's on the phone with you makes more money than you do, or they have acquired more knowledge than you, to always take notes. So I'm sitting here with my pen and my pad right next to me, ready to take notes. Because I'm going to introduce you to some 6- and 7-figure earners that are sweeping the nation, helping people just like you and I earn above average income. So it is my esteemed pleasure to bring to the call right now someone I have a tremendous amount of respect for. This gentleman knows 100% of what it takes to succeed in business. He's had an awful lot of success in a very short period of time. He spends his days helping people just like you and I earn above average income, and he's having a lot of fun doing it. And I'm so glad that he's asked me to join him. He's my friend. He's my mentor, one of my best friends, and my brother. So I present to you all top producing, top training in all of network marketing. This guy made 5 figures. No, let's scratch that. Let me give you the numbers. This guy made $10,000 in his first 30 days in our business. That is beyond phenomenal. I don't even think there's a word for it. So I bring to the call right now, National Director, soon to be Senior Vice President, Mr. Ray the Sensei Hendrickson. Sir, are you on the call?
Mr. Turner, I am live and direct, my good brother. I appreciate the magnificent introduction. My goodness, is it Magnificent Monday or is it Freedom Friday? I can't tell. I can't tell. I've been hanging out in this palatial mansion over the last week or so, and we've been working tirelessly. Almost feels like a sweatshop. I wake up to 3-way calls with my new business partners out of Minnesota. I want to say big shout out to Emmanuel Ben Israel and his whole squad. I can't remember all of the names. He put almost 13 people in business in the last 4 or 5 days. He's already qualified for his second $1,000, and he's got a bunch of people in his organization who are just about qualified for their first 1,000. So shout out to Anisha and Crystal and Adrian and Alton and Gavin, and there's Patrice and there's Derek. There's a whole bunch of them. And what I've discovered is that there are an awful lot of people out there who want more out of life. The question is, how much do you want? And so I want to leave you, actually I want to start my conversation by saying this. Your success, ladies and gentlemen, is a direct byproduct of your activity. And your activity is a direct byproduct of your ambition. And your ambition is a direct byproduct of what you think about you. So to the degree that you lack self-discipline is to the degree that you love to fail. And to the degree that you love to fail is to the degree that you have self-hatred. When a child is born into the world, that child has limitless potential. Did you know that an infant, if he loses a digit, has the power to regenerate the digit? That is the limitless possibility that exists in an infant. I bet you didn't know that. When a child is born, his stem cell reproduction is at an all-time high. He can actually regenerate a whole finger immediately after birth. And if you want to know why scientists are going into the embryonic fluid to get stem cells, it's because they're so closely connected with a newborn child. That newborn child is invincible. That newborn child is fearless. That newborn child is unrelenting. And every one of us are born the same way. If you stand at the bottom of a staircase and you tell your child to jump, that child, being without fear or trepidation, will leap, believing that it will be okay because you said so. What happened to that portion of you? What happened to the you that used to run without abandon, not caring about if you fell down and cut yourself? You would just run as fast and as hard as you could. Remember those days when there was nothing that could stop you? When you would think to yourself, absolutely I could do that. When I grow up, I'm gonna. Remember that? When I grow up, I'm gonna be the first person to do this. I'm gonna be the first person to do that. I'm going to be the person that makes $1 million in my household. I'm going to be the one that rescues my family from the projects. I'm going to be you were the answer to all the problems. What happened to that part of you is that society at large begins to deprogram you and reprogram you with the spirit of fear. Do you want to know why heaven made it critical to convey to you in no uncertain terms that God hath not given you the spirit of fear? Because in the same regard that a child comes into the world without it is the same way we win without it. But with it, it keeps us from becoming our greatest potential. You got to understand that even at this juncture in your life, when you've been taught to be afraid of everything, when you were taught not to ask questions, when you were taught just to sit down and be quiet, that all has to change. Because you have been given the dominion over the works of his hands. You therefore have the power to create the reality that you want. The same way a child could sit at the table with Lego and put together a rocket ship is the same creative ability that you have. But many of us have been so programmed away from it, we have to be reminded. How do we get reminded? It's called the law of association. Look, I know I'm supposed to be talking to you about a business opportunity, but if you don't get this right, no business opportunity will ever help. Mariko spent a whole bunch of time telling you about the most sensitive portions of his life. He told you about the struggle that he had when he was coming up. He told you about the difficulties that his mom had raising a single child. He told you about how his mom became terminally ill because she was working from pillar to post, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And at some point they were both looking for her. And at some point she could no longer work. And therefore he had to take care of not one, but two households. His household in New York and her household in Kentucky. He told you all about. Why do you think he would spend the time to tell you? To inspire you and to remind you who you are and to whom you belong. Everything is possible for you. Everything. There is no thing, there is not a single solitary thing that is impossible for you if you first believe. I know that to be true. I remember reading in this really good book. I mean, it was a really good book. It's probably outsold every other book in the history of mankind. It's so good, they call it the good book. In this book, it says that if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you could tell a mountain to move from thence and depart over to thence. What does that mean? What that means is this. The universe is built to bend and to yield at your demands. But you got to believe that you can have that. You got to believe that you deserve that. And if you believe that you can have it and you believe you can deserve it, then the universe will begin to conspire with you to succeed. Because all of creation wants to see the glory of you represented in this realm. And so we spend a lot of time trying to find ways to tap into the secret part of you that you've buried away in the steamer trunk that you put in the recesses of the basement. There is still a part of you that wants to live for a living versus work for a living. We want to talk to that part of you. For the rest of you, put it on the shelf. For the part of you that says this is all that life is, put him or her on the shelf. For the part of you that says I'll never be more than I am, put him or her on the shelf. For the part of you who thinks your friends who encourage you to go out every Friday as opposed to going to some seminar to improve you are your friends, I want you to put them on the shelf. Let's talk to the part of you that is invincible. There's still a smidgen of you left. It's not all gone. I remember reading in that same book, except you become as this little child. Why do you think that heaven would want you to become as this little child? Because it's only as a little child are most of us open for the endless possibility that the universe has to offer. It's the adults that develop bad habits. It's the adults that refuse to believe. It's the adults that are inundated with doubt and circumstances and life. Children are carefree. They know that in the final analysis, everything is going to be all right. And it is those of you who can set aside the baggage of being a grown-up And remember that innocent, fearless, unrelenting child who will be able to translate that energy into whatever level of success that you want. It's simply waiting for you. And I know we've been taught that there's a lack of over here, and there's a lack of over here, and there's a lack over here, and a lack over there, here a lack, there a lack, everywhere a lack. That's not how the universe works. Remember, I told you this. The way heaven designed this thing is that it is ever self-perpetuating. I don't care if you believe the world is 6,000 years old, 6 billion years old, or 6 trillion. We still haven't run out of oxygen. There's no lack of oxygen. We might be poisoning ourselves, but there ain't no lack of it. Because the cycle that's been put in place is residual. There's no absence of food. Even though there are people starving, there are people in control of food and the distribution thereof. We got more land so that no one should be homeless. Nothing is lacking. There's more money than anybody could ever spend in a single solitary lifetime, enough to pass on to their children generationally. So if you persuaded that there is a lack, it's because someone told you that there was. That's not the history of our existence. And so everything that you've been taught, I'm sorry to say, has been turned upside down. And the way we think now keeps us from achieving the potential that has been programmed into your genetic code. You ready for this? I know it. I know it. Many of us, you probably think, oh, that boy's crazy. You know what? It takes a little crazy to win. Let me give you the surefire way to lose. Follow everybody else. That's the surefire way to lose. Look for everybody else's approval. Surefire way to lose. Whatever the crowd's doing, that's what you do. You have to be crazy as it relates to society to go in the different direction. And everybody who's achieved any sustained success, who has made an impact on life on the planet, has done the opposite of what the crowd is doing. More often than not, the majority are wrong. Now, do you want to be in the majority, or do you want to be a trend setter? Do you want to be a leader, or do you want to be a follower? And let me go so far as to say this. The people in your own house will think you're crazy. The people who wear your name will think you're crazy. The people who share your bloodline will think you're crazy. And only after you prove them wrong by becoming successful will they say things like, can you hook a brother up? Or, we always knew you could do it. In order for you to get to the other side, you've got to believe you deserve it, and you can believe that you can have it, and then all you need is a plan. And so what we're talking about today is a plan. I'm hoping that my good friend Jesse Allen is on the phone. I'm sitting in a 10,000 square foot mansion right now, and about 15 feet over there is a $300,000 vehicle. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something. This is not what I would normally do, but I want y'all to see this, because I need y'all to know without any fear of successful contradiction that this business works. If you're all right, we're working it. Look, that's Platinum Senior Vice President Thomas Felder, #1 money earner in the history of our company. This is his garage. It's a little dark, but I'm going to turn the light on. And right down the stairs, this is a Bentley Continental GT Coupe Speed. This is a sub $300,000 vehicle. Now, I know some of you might not be impressed. Some of you guys might say, well, you know what? I'm not into cars. Here's what you got to recognize. Only the people who can't afford these cars usually say that. And it's not necessarily the car that makes the difference. It's the ability to buy one if you want. Now, you might not be into Louis Vuitton, but it'd be nice to afford one, isn't it? You might not be into nice houses like this one, but it'd be nice if you could afford one, wouldn't it? You might not be nice. You might not be into traveling, but it'd be nice if you could take your family on a Parisian weekend if you wanted to. So I'm just trying to help you paint the picture, because whatever you conceive and believe, you can achieve. Look, not only does he have a formal dining room, but he has a sitting room, and he got the nerve to have a parlor off the sitting room. Look, this is a parlor, ladies and gentlemen. Now, those of you who are familiar with the Harlem Renaissance, you knew that there was a parlor in the front room in those brownstones. You got to understand something. Money makes a difference because it provides choices. On the other side, you've got an office. This is an office where volumes and volumes of books, and that's just part of the office. The other part of the office is downstairs in the 2,000 square foot basement. This is back out to the sitting room. Now, I know. You might be thinking, oh, he's so material. Can I tell you something? Frederick Douglass says, no civilization will ever achieve their moral excellence without wealth. And anytime you have wealth, you have choices. The difference between rich and poor is not money, it's choices. And we don't have enough choices. This is the living room. I mean, there's so much space in this house, you can literally get lost. That's what happened for me. Thank God for iTunes, because without iTunes, I wouldn't have had a GPS, and I would have got lost in the basement, and you probably would have been still searching for me. You need a search party to find me down there. And so I wanted my good friend Jesse Allen to see that this business is real, because I know some of us still dream. And for those of you who still dream, you've got to find a way to finance your dreams. It doesn't matter what your dream is. Maybe you want to be the world's greatest underwater basket weaver, but because you work 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week, you can't pursue your dream. Whatever your dream is, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to find a way to finance it. And so when we begin to talk about 5 Links Enterprises, we just simply want you to know it's the most lucrative opportunity we found in an effort to finance the stuff that we really want to do. We're not so hell-bent on chasing down 5 Links. But when you achieve this kind of success and you don't have to work for a living, guess what you get the chance to do? Live for a living. Do you know what it feels like to live for a living? Being able to wake up when you want, being able to do whatever you want with whomever you want for as long as you want, wherever you want, without ever having to worry about the dollar? Wouldn't it be great if you could yank your kids out of school and take them on a trip around the world? So that when they get back to school, they can tell their friends and family members, yeah, I know what the pyramids look like because I've seen them up close and personal. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could pay the house off in advance and then help your children get through college without having to worry about insurmountable debt, like putting a gorilla on their shoulders that they got to carry around for the rest of their lives? Wouldn't it be great when your children graduate from school, you can give them a house and a car paid for and finance their children's trust fund before they even endeavor to have children? Wouldn't it be great to do that? And if you can't make ends meet now, how in heaven's earth will you ever save enough money to do it? Do you know some of the greatest characters that we read about in Scripture were all financially independent, or at least to a significant degree? Do you realize that they had residual income, which is why Peter could leave his family for months at a time and never have to worry about them starving? If you understood the divine design, then you would understand that you were born free. And if you were born free, then the only person that can put you into subjugation is you. You allow it to happen. Let me give you one example. If I were to ask you, how much do you think you're worth? Let's just say the average person lives between 72 and 77 years. How much could I pay you for 45 of those years? How much would you charge me? 100,000, 200,000, a million, 2 million? What is your life worth to you? And when you formulate that number, I want you to hold it. I want you to imagine that number the size of the Empire State Building. I want that number to be so big and vast you can't see over it, you can't see around it, you certainly can't see under it. What is that number? Let's say it's $1 trillion. If you think your life is worth $1 trillion, then why do you let your employer pay you less than 0.5% of $1 trillion? Who do you think you are to demean and to minimize your value just to buy groceries? Do you understand what I'm trying to convey? You are more than your circumstances, more than the sum of your parts. You are more than your predicament. You are more than everything that you had to go through, because everything you've been through is in preparation for victory that still lay yet ahead. You just got to suit up and be ready for this last fight, because before too long, your head is going to press a dying pillow and you'll have two options: being able to look back over your life with a lifetime's worth of regret, or being able to say, I left it out all on the stage. Look, I'm going to get to the finish line, or I'm going to die trying. I'm going to die on the runway. And whoever has the privilege, to eulogize Ray will never, ever, never be able to say, that boy right there was a quitter. We don't use that kind of language in my household. My children used to want to grow up to be stuff. Now they want to grow up to own stuff. Difference in paradigm. And so since mindset makes the difference, we've got to change it, because the difference is mindset. And so basically, Five Links Enterprises is nothing more than a vehicle. However, it is the Concorde. This is not a skateboard or those steel skates. Remember when you were a kid, mom would buy you steel skates and you could try to roller skate on the concrete and you trip because you can't put stainless steel on the concrete. Even if it had ball bearings in it, you use a key to tighten them up over your foot. And so you get the bruises around the foot. Maybe I'm tripping. But this is not a skateboard. It's not roller skates. This is not a bicycle. It's not an automobile. This is the Concorde. And we scoured the network marketing industry to find the most lucrative opportunity we could find. It's the right company at the right time, marketing the right products and services with the right team of people. That's why we continue to win. Those four divine principles come together under the auspices of this team to create success for other people who would ordinarily be stuck working 40 hours a week for 40 years for somebody else. Now, I know I haven't given you any information at all about the business opportunity. That's okay. I saved the best for last. It's the reason you get a second fork when you go to good restaurants. So it is my esteemed honor to introduce you to the #1 money earner in the history of our company, in whose house I'm being hosted. Former chief attorney for BET Television, responsible for the largest acquisition in the history of TV media, making Bob Johnson one of the 6 African-American billionaires. This guy sits on the advisory council of a $162 million company, debt-free. He's responsible for having become one of the world's most sought-after public speakers. And I literally have a whole lot of respect for him, because he knows 100% of what it takes to succeed in business. He's had an enormous amount of success, as you can see, in a very short amount of time, and he's made all $1.5 million of his dollars in the last 3.5, 4 years, helping people like you and I get to the other side. And he's having a world-class time doing it. We've had more fun in the last 7 days than I can remember at any particular time as a grown-up. It is just so encouraging to be in the company of other strong men who know how to be men. Have mercy, because they're sorely lacking. So without any further ado, it is my esteemed honor to introduce to some and present to others the #1 money earner in the history of our company at his position, and best-selling author of a book called Redefining the American Dream. This is Platinum Senior Vice President, soon to be double platinum, Thomas the Maestro Felder. Maestro, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Boy, I'm working the phones and Facebook Live today. I don't know if you guys feel like I do, but if you've been listening today, hopefully you feel like you got a treat. We never know how these calls are going to go, but we have a lot of fun while we do it. And some days we educate you, some days we inspire you, some days we just kind of give our all. I think we give our all every day, because why do it if you're not going to give your all? Why do it? How do you come behind Ray Hendrickson? That's some stuff, man. That was some good stuff, man. I like that. I have 1,000,001 things I want to tell you. But I want to start off by saying something that I don't usually say when I start off, is that I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I don't know where I would be without it. I went to school. I made really good grades in school. And I didn't make good grades in school because I was smart or so driven or nerdy or any of those kind of reasons. I made good grades in school because if I made good grades, my mama let me stay out late. If I made good grades, she'd let me go to the party. If I made good grades, she'd get me a pair of nails to do with anything else. Okay? So I got good grades because of my mother sort of using it as an incentive. And I really didn't have a goal for myself. I didn't have a goal or a dream or what I wanted to be early on until I made up my mind that I didn't want to grow up in the projects. I wanted my children to grow up in a different place than where I grew up. I wanted them to see grass. I wanted them to have dogs. I wanted the house on the hill. I wanted a big white fence. My dreams started to grow with me, but I didn't have a way in order to make my dreams come true. No way. And everything that I wanted to do, I could not find a mentor who did it before. I thought about playing pro ball like everybody else. And I wasn't very good at that. I thought I wanted to model, but ain't very handsome. I wanted to sing, but can't carry a note. Everything that I thought that I wanted to do, I could not find a mentor to help me do it. Eventually, a good friend of mine at my church, who was a legal person, I guess he was a paralegal. He was relatively young. He drove a white Jaguar. And I decided I wanted to be like him. I didn't understand what lawyers did. I didn't know what they made. I didn't know what it took to go to school, how many years it would take, what a student loan would cost. But I just knew that because he was young, drove a white Jaguar, wasn't a drug dealer, was friendly and respected in the church, I wanted that. And I clung on to him like everything. I mean, I just wanted what he wanted. I wanted to be like him. His name was Mike, and I wanted to be like Mike. So as time went on, people told me I couldn't go to college. I'm the last of 5 children in my household. We didn't have a lot of money. My mother didn't have a lot of resources. I wore my brother's hand-me-down Lees, and I wore my sister's T-shirts. All of the food in the refrigerator was white, the no-frills food. We didn't have corn flakes. We had flakes. We didn't have oatmeal. We had oats. Everything was just a step below. And I wondered, could God take my situation and get me from where I am to where I was in my brain? In my brain, I was someplace else. In my brain, I was successful. In my brain, there was no lack. In my brain, I had access to resources. I was able to talk to people that were outside of my income class. All of that was going on in my brain. And I am so grateful that God didn't let me sort of sit on it and not fight for my dreams. And I just want to tell you, if you're on this call today, I want you to fight for your dreams. Don't you know when somebody sees you, it takes 1/24th of a second for them to make a determination about you? That long. Before you can say hello, they've made a determination about you. They've made a determination about you, about how you stand, whether your stomach is sitting out, whether your skin is dry. They just make a determination about you. And I want to tell you, you can change the way people see you by first changing the way you see yourself. Because when I was 9 years old and I determined I wanted to be a lawyer, trust me, I read every lawyer book I can get my hands on. I memorized every legal phrase I can get my hands on. I started to write ESQ at the end of my name at 9 years old. Thomas Wesley Felder, ESQ. And I scribbled it like a champion. I wrote my name like John Hancock. Teacher said, I can't understand the way you write your name. I said, because I'm sophisticated, and this is the way sophisticated people write. Yeah, I write the same way now that I was writing in 5th grade. I write that little squiggly thing on the end. But I started to change on the inside, and people started to see it on the outside. And I took on the persona of what I wanted to be. I hear people say sometimes, I don't want to fake it till I make it. No, you just got to convince yourself that you are ready to be someplace else. Convince yourself. If you got I see women sometimes, and I'm sorry, women, I'm picking on y'all, but I see women sometimes, they got 30 pairs of shoes all leaning over. 30 pairs of shoes with the bottoms worn out. 30, yeah, great, you got 30 pairs of shoes. For me, I get rid of all the shoes and I get one pair of nice shoes. One pair of shoes that cost some money. One pair of shoes that would stand up no matter what. One pair. I don't need 10 pair of suits. Give me one good suit. Give me one $5,000 jacket. I could wear this every single day. Just give me one. I want quality. I don't need 5 women. Give me one good wife. Are y'all with me? Just one. No, I don't need a fleet of cars. Just give me one $300,000 Bentley. I'm good to go. Change the way you see yourself. Change the way you believe what you deserve. And you'll see other people sort of respond accordingly. You have got to be enthusiastic. Anytime you talk to people, you better be up tempo. Most people are down and upset and worried and stressed out. And if you want to be the change maker, if you want to be the person that changes the temperature, you got to be up. You're not going to catch me down. If I'm down, I'm home. If I come out, that means I came out to take care of business. Matter of fact, even when I'm home, I wake up to take care of business. I'm grateful today that I got up. Somebody today couldn't get up. Somebody got an adult diaper on and somebody's telling them who they are and feeding them food that's been mashed through the blender. I am grateful to be up and in my right mind, and I don't take 1 second for granted. So yeah, I've got to be enthusiastic, and then I've got to be sharp. I've got to know today what I was going to say to you. I had to think about it last night, talk to Ray Hendrickson about it, made notes on the board behind me. I do a lot because I want to be right. I may never get a second chance to make a first impression. So yeah, even though I work from home, I'm going to brush my teeth to get on with you. I'm going to put cologne on to get on with you. I put olive oil in my hair and on my face to talk to you. Most of y'all are on the phone with me. But it affects my mindset. And I move when I talk because you can feel my energy through the phone. And when you see me, you better believe that I'm a figure of authority. I believe what I'm saying. So sometimes I run into people who want me to sign up in their business or do what they're doing or get involved in whatever they're doing. But if they don't believe it, why would they sort of try to come to me and get me to believe them or follow them? It is like a man being on a bridge and he's getting ready to jump. And I'm the man driving across the bridge and I see the man, the jumper, getting ready to jump. And I go over to him and try to convince him not to jump. And he tries to convince me to jump. And if he's more convicted in jumping than I'm convicted in staying, that means I'll be jumping with him. Your level of conviction will determine your authority. It is important the way you carry yourself. Keep your head up. And I keep my head up at all times. Now, you got to approach people in this business. And I know it's scary dealing with people. People are the best and worst part of this business. So I want to give y'all some quick sort of pointers if you got to deal with people. Men and women, first of all, are very different. We have very different body language. When you are talking to a woman, you got to stand directly in front of a woman. Normally, you want to be just about 2.5 feet away from her. You want to be sort of eyes on with a woman. Now, don't do that with a man. Don't stand toe-to-toe with a man. Don't stand directly in front of a man. You always stand off at an angle, either to the left or to the right. Men by nature are aggressive, and our testosterone kicks in when somebody stands directly in front of us. God did it by nature. When you are in a business and you want people to take you serious, don't go around with little pinky rings or nose rings or all kind of craziness, a little lip ring that I see people with sometimes. Look and see what you have on your Facebook page. I saw a girl who recently joined my business. She's got a tattoo going down her thigh, and it goes up into her hip region, and all of it is sort of out there. And I'm like, I can't take you serious. Yeah, you sound professional. You sound like Oprah on the phone. You look like Barack's wife, but I can't take you serious. I just can't. So if you're going to be in business, maybe have a business Facebook page and take down the other one. I was going to say keep two, but you can't. Because in this social world, your personal life merges with your business life. And if you don't want them to know about it, don't put it out there. Then you got to give people a firm handshake. Yeah, we still do handshakes. You got to do them. You got to give them a firm one. Gentlemen and women, the days of you trying to vice grip somebody when you give them a handshake is over. You ain't got to sort of grab the front of my fingers and squeeze them to the point of I want to yell daddy or uncle. Don't do that. Just give me a firm handshake. And you don't have to do the help me out bro handshake that got 9 parts to it. You know the handshake, you go like this and you flip it over this way, you do that, and then this. It's like one of those I just got pledged handshakes. You don't have to do that, right? Now everybody's into that, and if they're not ethnic, could I say ethnic, right? If they're not ethnic, they're going to sort of try to figure it out. And if you get it wrong, they're going to think that you're in some secret society and that you done jammed up the secret shake, right? Just give them a good old regular fashion handshake. Watch what you dress. Watch how you dress, should I say. You know, watch what you wear and watch how you dress. I like dark colors. Dark colors on brown-skinned people look good, okay? I'm a light brown. I'm cinnamon color, whatever you want to call it, honey color. Dark looks good on me. If you're darker than I am, a lot of times when you go to the darker phase, wear lighter colors. It looks better. It stands out better. I ain't trying to be your fashion consultant, but just try it out. If you're browner than I am, if you're 2 or 3 shades browner than honey, if you're closer to milk chocolate, try lighter colors. It brings out and it accents you a whole lot better. And I'm telling you, just on choice of clothing, it goes a long way. Now, if you're going to wear a shirt, men, wear a white shirt. I know that y'all get newfangled and everybody got light blue shirts, light lavender, crustacean color shirts. Go with a white shirt with a white hanky. See that? White shirt, white hanky. It always keeps everything nice and clean. You can wear a pink color tie. Now, it used to be that if you wore a red color tie, it meant that you were bold, you were aggressive, you were leading out and taking charge. But times are changing. Unless you're Donald Trump, stay away from the red tie. It just means I've come and I'm ready to be aggressive, right? If you want an aggressive posture, go ahead with your red tie. But pink is a non-combative color that you can wear, gentlemen. And a pink color tie, you don't have to wear all pink. It doesn't mean that you any less of a man. It just says, I'm here, I'm authoritative, but I'm not combative. You've got to build rapport with the people who you are dealing with. And that's why sometimes you guys will see me wearing a pink color tie, right? They've done statistics on this. They've done studies on this. This ain't me just trying to sort of wardrobe up. The next thing I want to tell you is you got to make eye contact and mirror people. If you talk fast and the person you talk to is from the South and they talk slow, then slow down. Slow down. Slow down. And then you got to let them talk. And talking, as my wife has explained to me, means, listening, as my wife explains to me all the time, is doing more than just waiting for the other person to speak. Talk less, listen more. I know it's hard. It is a skill. You've got to develop it. You've got to learn how to listen to people. You've got to learn how to empathize. You know, you can't always make people feel like you're in a rush. Normally, I won't even answer the phone if I'm in a rush. That's why I tell people to text me. But if you got me, you got me. If I'm talking to you, I'm not going to take the other text or the other inbox or the other email. For the time that you got me, I'm going to give you my complete, undivided, 100% attention. I want to make you feel like you are important. You are the most important thing on my agenda until we are done. Is that fair? You got to sort of treat people that way, and you got to talk to them that way, and you got to mirror them and make eye contact with them. When they move, you move. Just like that. Y'all with me? You got to move with the person that you're talking to. It lets them know that you are vibing with them and that you understand what they have going on. I just want to go over one thing for you guys before we get off the line. It's 12:58, and I know y'all got to go back to work. I'm going to take this to the whiteboard. We were at the whiteboard yesterday. On Friday, and a lot of people like the whiteboard that we went over, so I'm going to go over it for you one more time. And the goal is to show you how to make $200,000 a year from home. All right, I went over it on Friday. I just want to go over it one more time because a lot of y'all need a plan B. You need to sort of find your way so you can get out of the job that you're currently in. All right, so you got to have a formula if you want to make this kind of money. And if you got to do that, you want to figure out how to make $4,000 a week if you're going to make $200,000 a year. Okay, hopefully it's not backwards on the screen. But the way that we do that is you can get 20 Touch Suite orders a week. 20 Touch Suite orders. We make just about $200 per order. That is $4,000 a week. Right now in America, every single store is trying to get a credit card chip reading machine. Trust me. Go to the store. I went to the store yesterday, and the man asked me if I had a chip certified credit card. I said, no, I don't have a, well, I did, but not that one. I didn't have a chip certified credit card. Every place you go over the next year between now and Christmas will ask you for a chip certified card reading machine. We offer those machines. $1 trillion of those machines will be sold between now and Christmas. The only question is whether or not they're going to buy the machine from you. If the people do over $10,000 a month, we give the machine away. What? We give it away? Yes, we give it away if they do over $10,000 a month. All right? And we give them a price guarantee that we will meet or beat whatever rate that they are currently paying. It is a winning formula. You can't lose with this formula. We give them a real estimate. We ask them for one bill, and then we give them an estimate as to what we're going to charge them. Okay? The other thing that we do is we expose the business. The reason I expose the business is because I want a team of people out there getting TouchSuite accounts. I want 1,000 of these accounts a week, and the only way I can do that is by building a team. And we do that by doing 6 PBRs, which are private business receptions or home meetings. You want to do that a week. Doesn't mean that you personally have to do it, but if you have 2 or 3 people on your team, y'all divide it up and make sure you get at least 6 home meetings in a week. It doesn't have to be in your home. It could be at a Starbucks. It could be on Facebook. It could be on Google Hangouts, okay? You just got to meet with people and share the business. You need to make 8 appointments per week in person and on the phone. 8 appointments. 8 appointments means that somebody said yes. That means that they got your email. That means that they got your text. You've got to sort of get a response from these people, okay? You need 40 calls, emails, or text messages where you can confirm contact, right? You got to make sure, don't just send out things and not go back and check your nets. No fisherman puts out nets for lobsters and don't go back and check to see the lobsters are in the net, or check to see the shrimp are in the net. All right. So how do I do that? How do I hit these numbers every week? Every week I do 24 calls, emails, text messages, and I do that 6 days a week. That will take you 2 hours every day. 2 hours a day. All right. So it's not a lot of work, but it's not, you don't do anything. So prepare to spend 2 hours a day if you want to make $200,000. Also, give yourself 4 years to do it. Give yourself 4 years. All right. It took me a lot less time because I'm a lot more consistent than most people. I was a lot more desperate than most people. I think desperate is probably the better word. And I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot. I prayed a lot. I got to tell y'all, prayer is a formula. It does work. Prayer does change things. And I needed a miracle. And I asked my Heavenly Father for one. But 4 years, and even if you made half of the 200,000, that would be all right. Yes or yes? Okay? So we use a system. And system means save yourself stress, time, energy, and money. That's what system is. And I always say to people, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen? I always tell people, if you join my business, if this don't work, you could always go back to what wasn't working before. Right? We did a webinar this week. It was supposed to be the last day on Sunday. And our phones have been blowing up. Our emails have been blowing up. We did a 3-hour and 40-minute webinar showing you how to introduce your business to anywhere between 50 to 1,000 people every single day. If you're willing to spend 2 hours a day, that's 1,000 people a day you can expose your business to. If you want the webinar, I'll be happy to send it to you. I was supposed to end it, but I extended it for some other people, and how can I not extend it for you? All you got to do is text me if you want it. It's 202-409-4456. And I teach you how to do this over the internet, on social media. I mean, you could go belly to belly, which is what people do, but the internet is our new belly to belly. The world is my oyster. I can't be belly to belly in China, but I could be belly to belly on Facebook. And then email me at run2diamond@gmail.com, RUN, the number 2 diamond@gmail.com. And then check out our website. For those of you who are interested in taking a look at the business, go to www.5linkspaysme.com. www.5linkspaysme.com. Again, you can text me or email me. Tell me that you want the webinar. I do have a 100% money back guarantee on it. It's $20. It ain't $2,000. It's $20. And I haven't had anybody even think about asking for a refund. They say, who does 3 hours and 40 minutes of pouring out their soul for $20? I guess I do. And if I do this every day for free with Ray Hendrickson, imagine what we give you for $20. All right, we're going to be in St. Louis next week, Sunday. On May 22nd, we'll be in St. Louis. We're doing an 8-hour InterVarsity training. It's a word that you never heard because it's like training you ain't never seen. Right? So I look forward to you guys coming out in St. Louis. If you want information on the InterVarsity, let me know. If you have already ordered tickets for InterVarsity in St. Louis, guess what we're doing? If you want to invite a friend and that friend is coming, we will give you 20% of whatever they pay for their ticket. We'll give it back to you. You can invite 5 friends and make $100. You can't beat that. So if you want more information about that, let me know. All they need to do is put your name on the referral list, and it has to be somebody who orders after today. All right? So a lot more people are coming to the event. You got a chance to get paid on it. I just want to make life a little bit easier for those of you who are working the business. With that being said, everybody, my name is Thomas Felder, Platinum Senior Vice President for the awesome and incredible team TNT. I look forward to seeing each of you on the beaches of the world, if not at the beach, at the bank. But more importantly, to any beach or any bank, I look forward to seeing you guys at the gates of the kingdom. For what would it profit a man to gain the whole world and to lose his own soul? Until I meet you and greet you, walk with the King today and be a blessing. This call, this webinar, this Facebook, and whatever other way you are watching or listening to me is officially over. God bless.